Welcome to the Building Savages podcast.
New favorite fitness podcast.
I'm your boy Terrence, aka Building Beast.
I'm Evan Perez, aka EP.
On this podcast, we talk to our fellow coaches, athletes, and everyday gym goers about health, fitness, business, entrepreneurship, self growth, and so much more. Make sure you hit that like and subscribe, or
We'll find you and make you smash the subscribe button. Hope you enjoyed today's topic.
Have you seen the clip about the Dr. Gabrielle Lyon, I believe her name is, talk about walking isn't exercise?
I
Um,
did, and they're absolutely smoking her online.
bro, smoking her. It's fucking hilarious how many people are on top of it. She's great. Like there's a bunch of stuff about her like talking about prioritizing proteins and stuff like that. And especially great for like women to understand these things because I think women always have a problem with their nutrition. But that's aside the
Yes.
point. So what are your thoughts about walking being exercise? Because I know we both are kind of very similar, but I want to go ahead and deep dive into this topic and social media's like demolishing of this lady.
Yeah. So when I was watching the clip, initially I got exactly what she was trying to say. And I feel like there was so much more to that conversation that people probably just didn't listen in on. You could clearly tell she's someone who favors strength training.
Yeah.
Um, Now, with that being said, walking can be exercise if you're doing it in really long bouts. But if you're just treating it for like locomotion, then at that point, that's literally just getting from point A to point B. And I always just tell somebody like it's good that you're walking, but to really get like results from it, you have to do a lot of walking.
Yeah.
Now, if someone's a couch potato and you get them to just start walking, they're going to get stronger, their aerobic capacity is going to increase, but it's very bare minimum like physical activity. So, eventually, unless you're doing like crazy hikes or you're just doing like really really long walks daily, you're not going to start getting much off of just like little 10-20 minute walks outside of some good mental clarity.
Yeah. I think it's just an it's I think about it, like you said, like if you have a very low barrier of entry, like you're like literally have done nothing for 20 years, walking is like the highest effort that you can put in without
Mm-hmm.
actually involving yourself. Like just walk a couple steps and get your 7,000 or whatever like that. But if you're already kind of like on the move of strength training, like already doing cardio, like already doing things, like walking is a low barrier effort that will increase your activity level. So it increases the amount of calories that need throughout the day, but also increases I mean, there's so many other benefits of walking. Like walking is very beneficial for you. I consider it a form of exercise, but I also consider it a very low effort form of exercise.
Yeah,
Like
it's low barrier exercise
very,
for
very low
sure.
form. I feel like it's necessary because we all need to walk from point A to point B and have a certain level of activity throughout the day to grasp these benefits of being able to, for our heart health, for cardiovascular health, for mental health,
Correct.
well, all these things. But it depends on your goals, like anything else. If you're trying to gain muscle and you're just walking, what the fuck are we doing? If we're
Exactly.
if you're trying to increase your cardiovascular health and you're just walking, what the fuck are we doing? So it is a form of exercise, but you need to figure out what your goals are. And if your goals aren't to fucking it is to fucking gain as much muscle or lose as much fat as you can, then you need to step that shit up.
Yeah, I think like you said, it's important to kind of know where your fitness level is at the moment.
Mm,
And it's super key to figure out what your goals are at the moment. But like we had this conversation before, like your capability says a lot about your fitness, right? So
yeah,
if if walking is challenging for you, which it is for some people, um, you want to get yourself to a point to where walking is something comfortable and something is a low level activity. But
yeah,
eventually it's like, how do we kind of start like increasing these demands on the body so we can start improving our fitness in other areas? Like when you start getting really fit, walking becomes like leisure for you. It becomes something that you just enjoy. Maybe the weather's nice outside, and it's a
yeah,
nice way to just kind of get in some extra physical activity just to kind of keep your body burning more calories throughout the day.
yeah,
So in that case, walking tends to be really good, but like you said, it's a low barrier entry into our fitness. And the conversation other to point to have too is like, I just kind of hate how social media gets today with making things like, I'm trying to word this the right way so I don't get killed, but we're getting very soft with our mentality with
Oh, so
how
soft.
we're, you know, like I'm
I
trying to word this the
here's the thing,
right
Ron. If you want to play it safe, you play it safe. People are
way.
soft, bro. People
It's
soft as fucking marshmallows out here, baby. Baby
like
ass soft.
like the fact that she's getting killed for just like speaking of walking this way, it's like I get it, like you want fitness to be for everybody, which is absolutely right, and I'm not negating that. But the way that she's being attacked is like you can clearly see that where she's trying to take that conversation, and I'm sure she did because I didn't go watch it. Um, but I'm sure if you go watch that conversation, you can pretty much see how she was like, "We have to do more than walking." That's
Yeah.
literally where the conversation sounded like
Exactly.
what she was trying to have is like we have to do more than just letting walking be our standard for people being in shape and having longevity. Like you want to have muscle mass, you want to have strength, you want to have functionality, and walking's not going to be able to cover all of that for you. There's other areas of our fitness and of our health that we need to have in check and instead of just having this very low barrier entry for us because now it's like we if we just look at walking as this gold standard or this bar, then the bar is in hell when you start looking in the next decade or centuries of what like human performance starts to look like
Yeah, it's wild.
for the
It's
average person.
yeah, that's and that's like the main thing is like, I mean, you can get killed for like saying something in 5 seconds. You can get killed for
For
saying something
sure.
because people just grasp the first thing they hear and they hear that thing and then they take it as truth. And that's the main problem is like she was leading towards something, but people who don't know anything about fitness or know the bare bones about fitness aren't going to hear what she was having to
Of
say.
course not.
So and that's the main problem. Like she was leading towards something. Like if you look at all her stuff and all her Instagram posts, it's about building muscle.
Yeah.
So what she's basically saying is that that is not enough. Exactly what you're saying. But people are just grasping what they want to grasp so they can use it as their own leverage. Hey, like she's wrong. Boom, boom, boom. This, that, and the third. Instead of being, I hear where she's coming from,
Yeah.
but these are the things that you need to realize because like she's not gonna go in depth. Like if you don't have an hour, like people love Joe Rogan, but Joe Rogan like talks for 3 hours.
Yeah.
I'm not listening for fucking 3 hours. Who has 3 hours to kill to listen to somebody? It's the same thing with this. She probably talked for an hour. She had 1,000 great things to do, but this one was the one that was cut.
Yeah.
And this
And
is the one.
and it's clearly not her podcast, so she didn't cut it. You
Yeah,
know, so
exactly.
somebody else cut it, and like we know how these things work. Like you cut it a certain way so you can get that traction and attention. Now,
Yeah,
there's going to be some people that go in and listen to the podcast because that can bring in viewership, and there's going to
yeah,
be some people who's just going to take that and just take it for the Bible and take it for the word and just kind of move with that. And it's just almost like an unfair thing, but like that's just kind of the space that we're in today. But like just using my coach brain and like really listening how she was speaking,
yeah,
I know for a fact that she wasn't saying walking is not exercise. She was just trying to say like this shouldn't be the bar for us. Like we should
exactly,
be focusing on our muscle health and our strength as
exactly,
well. Especially
exactly.
like that's the stuff that's really important as you age, right? Like of course we want to have our heart health is the main thing, right? That's what keeps everything pumping. But your strength is something that you're gonna debilitate with if you don't utilize it over the years. So you can have all the heart health and be able to walk all you want, but your functionality is gonna be dog shit in those later years, and then you're gonna have to be dependent on so many other things to help you because you won't be able to mobilize and have the strength to do things on your own. And like that's the
Exactly.
conversation that I'm sure she was trying to get into listening.
Yeah, 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 she's getting demolished, bro. I agree. It's a very, very, very low bar to have walking, and I think no matter what, like and this goes back to the thing of like you don't need to do something intense every single day. So like
Yeah.
it's a very walking is a very great tool for active recovery. It's a great tool to get some extra steps in, burn a couple extra calories, and not have to fatigue yourself enough where like you're dying every day and then you can't recover from it. And it's
For
also a
sure.
great recovery tool, like active recovery and recovery for the next day. So like if you're strength training, if you're a well-rounded person, you are strength training 2 to 3 times a week. Okay, at the minimum, you're probably doing 1 or 2 days of cardiovascular training, which is a lot more intense than what we're talking about with walking, because I don't consider walking cardiovascular training, but I do consider a cardiovascular modality, but very, very
Yes.
very entry of it. Like these are the off days. Go walking. I mean, walking
Yeah.
is fucking nice. It's
Yeah.
nice to fucking walk with your significant other, your girlfriend, your boyfriend, whatever. Walk with your dog. Like these are good things to get away because like getting into nature is very empowering for the holistic viewpoint of yourself, like to get out of the house and stuff like that. But it's also very beneficial to get your steps in. Like getting 7,000 to 10,000 steps a day should be a low barrier of entry for everybody.
Yeah.
But like I said before, if you haven't done anything, okay, you're listening to our podcast and you haven't done anything, and this is motivating you to go walk or whatever like that, fucking do that.
Yeah.
And there's also ways of making anything harder. So like walking, you can do it with a ruck. You can walk at a faster pace. You can run walk. You
Yeah.
can like, there's different ways to doing it, but like just know that walking is a form of exercise. But like if if it's limbo, like it's all the way at fucking the
Yeah.
skyscraper. Like you're just walking under you're doing the a low effort. You need to
Walking should be like the supplemental thing into your training routine after a while.
Exactly. After a while, that should be like yeah, that should just be used as active recovery. You shouldn't, if you're walking, you're huffing and puffing, like you need to walk more, buddy. Like I'm sorry, you need to walk, hike, whatever you need to do. But yes, there,
Yes.
yes, you need to do more.
Especially when you start looking at like certain age ranges, right? Like I think when you start looking into like the elderly population, I think walking is something that should be more on the higher end of their activity level, but they should still also find ways to express strength. That's very,
Yes,
very important. For our age range, walking should be like that thing that you just do on the side of other physical activity. Like you shouldn't really put that as your barrier. There should
yes,
be other things that you are incorporating to make sure that you are covering different levels of athletic performance and strength and mobility, and then making sure that walking is just like physical activity added to a routine. It
and
definitely shouldn't be our bar in that
yeah.
30 age range, that 20 age range.
Well, I think also at the grand scheme of things, if you want to be able to do things forever, like this is the time to prioritize strength training, mobility training, flexibility, like cardiovascular.
Hmm.
Because like at 70, I don't want my high bar to be just walking. Like I still
Yeah.
want to be able to express all these movements. If
Yes.
you're too late into the game and at 70 you're like now I want to express all these movements, it's gonna be very, very difficult for you the longer you take. So like right now is the time. The 20 to 30-year-olds are the time to express all these movements, to build as much muscle as you can and make walking the lowest bar of fucking entry to your training. Because then in the long term, when you turn 70 and 80, you still want to have this good base. And training is like, I mean, walking is just iffy. You know what I
Yep.
mean? Yeah, I mean, I can walk right now and I can be fine because I'm capable of doing whatever the fuck I want. So that's important.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we hit that one on a nail.
Boom, right on the fucking nail. I love it. Yeah. So
Good. Yeah.
get to building muscle, prioritize protein, but also like take everything with a grain of salt. Like
Yeah.
she's getting dragged in the dirt for something that she said, but like you guys are just taking it out of context. Well, it's in context, but you guys are just grasping on one thing. Just listen to a whole
Yeah.
conversation.
It's a sample size of a full discussion. But as much as we want to focus on our aerobic health, and walking is going to help with just like the very bare minimum of that, depending on what fitness level, of course, but you should have walking something that is very comfortable for you to do, and the more you can have that as you age, the better. But muscle health is also something that you should be focusing on too. This is gonna work into your functionality over the years. So, and I really believe that was the point she was bringing home. It's like, all right, walking is nice, but if that's the only thing we're prioritizing, we're missing out on so much more that we can be doing for our bodies to make us more capable as we age.
She's a lot of her stuff. Like I've been following her for a while. Is amazing. Like
Yeah.
that she's doing for women, for everybody, prioritizing protein and the benefits of building muscle, like as you age. Like she's doing great things. Like this is just one little nip, and it's not even bad. It's just people are taking it wrong, I think.
Yeah.
So
And
that's
I'll
why.
be honest, like this is my personal opinion. I think she's getting dragged even more because her look is very muscular.
That's it.
So I think with her preaching more muscle, it makes her look like a musclehead. I think if she was someone who was a little more lean that was speaking like this, I don't know if it would be, not saying it wouldn't be, but I don't know if the reception would be as aggressive because now it's like someone who looks more
Yeah.
fit overall that's preaching this opposed to someone who might look like a musclehead saying it.
It's like it's what is like discriminating against fit people? Like fitism. It's like fitism almost.
I have no idea. I
It's
don't
like we're
even
gonna name it
they
fit now.
yeah.
You're discriminating me because I'm sexy, because I'm fit.
Yeah.
Like that's basically what it sounds like. But I mean, you also it is also a good point. Like I'm joking around, but it's a very good point.
Well,
Yeah.
I hope you guys took something from this episode. Like always, like and subscribe, set your notifications for all future episodes.
You.